Hey everybody, it's Joel with Landscape Alberta. We'll just get started here in about 1 minute. We've got about half of our attendees here, so we'll give it another little bit. We will be recording the session today, so if you lose connection or have to leave early, we'll post that on our YouTube channel, and you can go back and watch that at any point. There's some delay on my sound, so I'm going to switch headsets and see if that helps any folks. Does that work any better for anybody? There's a chat feature here if you can maybe confirm the audio is working properly. Oh, I can't hear anything. Great. Thanks, Seb. Thanks, Wayne. Good to see you guys. Wow. Okay, I think I got it. Chat's blowing up. Thanks, guys. So we've got about 53 people online right now, out of about the 85 that registered. So we'll get started. So thank you for coming. Green Industry Show and Conference is going to look a little different this year. We've decided to go virtual, as you'll know from communication with Val. And then we just want to sort of take you through our decision-making process and what that means, and then go through a bit of what the virtual exhibit space is going to look like, as well as the platform as a whole. And we've got a good 10-minute video directly from our partner that is the platform we're using, that really does explain really, really well what's possible in the virtual world. I know I can speak on behalf of all the staff that we really did have no idea what really was possible virtually in 2020. So we spent a lot of time researching, a lot of time looking at a lot of different options, and really tried to find the one that was right size fit for Landscape Alberta and the Green Industry Show and Conference. So we'll do that. This year we were supposed to be at the Edmonton Expo Center here in Edmonton. We were concerned about gathering size limits, especially for indoor public spaces. When we look into our crystal balls, we could really sort of see maybe the number that would be allowed would be 250 by November. And given we have on average 125 exhibitors, it wouldn't make a very enjoyable show for anybody if it was a 1-to-1 ratio of customers in the hall versus exhibitors. So that really helped contribute to what we're doing. We also had to look at what the Expo Center itself was recommending in terms of public health measures. We'd have to have one-way aisles or make the aisles 14 or 15 feet wide as opposed to the typical 9-foot aisle. I believe they've suggested that that all booths have a plexiglass barrier between them and between the customer and the exhibitor, which was a little bit unreasonable. And a big part of the Green Industry Show and Conference is that breaking bread together, and having those social events and be able to share drink and dinner and do those things. And if we weren't able to offer catering or not make it communal catering, we really felt that was a fall down, if you will. And then for a lot of our exhibitors that are traveling either from the US or from out of province, there were going to be issues with coming into Alberta that we wanted to avoid and make it inclusive for everybody. So our board really followed the mantra of trying to make the least regrettable decision. We want to make sure all of our attendees, all of our exhibitors feel safe and comfortable coming to the event. And we just didn't think we would be able to do that by November this year, or not able to do it with enough confidence to have the planning in place to really hold our full event. So there's what we got there. And if at any time you have questions, fire them into chat, and I'll try to fit them in. And so how we plan to go virtual. Excuse me. Our mantra was really engagement. We want the attendees fully engaged and have that ability to interact live, to integrate live polls. We were very concerned for our attendees, especially on the education side, that they could still access the continuing education credits. So we picked a system that would really help us do that. And then that'll drive a lot of attendance, especially with the lack of other events, is virtually being able to get your pesticide applicators credit or your ISA credits, et cetera, is going to be very important for people this year. So we're offering a real path to that. And then engagement for exhibitors, we want there to be we want it to be conversations that happen, not just a static booth, if you will, and booth in a virtual replacement way. And so we've come up with a system that integrates, the ability to leave a message, the ability to live text chat, the ability to live video chat, and everything that goes in between there. And when I play the video, you'll see the live video chat. But amazingly, our partner actually just launched today an upgrade to the live video chat for exhibitors that now allows you to do group chats of up to 25 in your booth at any one time. So you can pull in, small groups and do little presentations in a live video chat. So just like Teams or Zoom, but directly inside the trade show website. So it'll be an interesting, and we wanted engagement for exhibitors. So we wanted to really look at how we can connect those to the educational sponsors and a thing called gamification, like a scavenger hunt virtually, so that we engage the attendees to be able to connect with sponsors and exhibitors throughout the event, and that we do some neat things that pull people in live. We really want to push people to come to the live. We're now doing a 3-day event, November 18th, 19th, 20th, with some live start times for all of the education. So that'll pull people in at intervals throughout the day, and then they can flow into the exhibition halls. We're planning some live happy hour style events, and so hopefully we can create a bit of a virtual community there. I've been on a few live happy hours that have been a lot of fun. So we're working on what that looks like. And then before we sort of touch on the next step is what we've decided to do virtually as well is the event and all of the education after the 3-day event's over. All of it will be put up on the event website and be archived and available for another 60 days. And that will include your booth being up for 60 days. And that's where the messaging and the lead retrieval systems will really come in handy. So we're hoping for a much longer tail than normal. So we want to make sure the show's still available into January. People get through Christmas, and if they have content they want to still follow up on, they'll still be able to connect with you, and the education will bring them back. When we host live events, we interestingly have usually 3 or 4 concurrent rooms going on. And so people have to pick which session they really want to go to. And if they want to go to multiples, Generally, they send multiple staff and they take notes in each and share after. But the way this will work is that you'll literally be able to watch all. I believe we're at 38 or 40 hours of content that we have planned to deliver. So you'll be able to go back for weeks after and just continue to pull in that content. And we're hoping that'll also drive people to exhibitors and sponsors and those kind of messages for a longer period of time after the event. So what's the booth look like? We're very cognizant of a virtual booth. It is not the same as obviously a physical booth, but that works both ways. It doesn't offer maybe the same experience, but I think it comes at a much more reasonable cost. So we're offering 2 levels of booths, Essential for $650, and just off the top of my head, is a standard booth, 10 by 10 booth at the physical GISC is in the $1,300 range. So essentially half price from normal, but you also don't have to pay for carpet or forklift move-in or hotel rooms or flights or any of that other stuff. So it can be very cost effective to do this thing. And so it comes with obviously an exhibitor listing, your exhibitor profile, where you'll be able to select which categories of products or services you sell. You'll be able to upload documents, price lists, catalogs, any of that stuff. The video features, the live chat, which is, I've been out to a couple of these virtual conferences so far in the landscape horticulture industry, and no one has offered what we're going to do with the live video chat. And then you get 1 free conference pass, so you can go to the education sessions as well. And then that'll have live chat as well inside the education session. So it's a great chance to interact with other attendees. And if you have a product or service that complements what they're talking about, you can engage in conversations there and still monitor your booth in another tab. So it's a great way to do that. And then that comes with the 3 booth representatives. So you can have multiple people on, and you can see if they're busy or not busy, and people can select who they want to talk to. So it's a great way to still have that same interaction. And then Premier for $1,100, which includes a special sort of priority listing. You'll get 1 product or service in a feature showcase area. It includes the lead retrieval, which is a $200 value, and you can add that to the basic booth the essential booth if you want as well. You get 2 conference passes, which is another $50, and then unlimited booth reps. So same here is that for $50 extra, you can add more booth reps to your essential booth, but you can it's unlimited if you go to the advanced level. So you get some upgrades. And in the product and service showcase, as an example, it allows you to upload more videos. The system only allows 1 video per booth currently, but if you get that upgrade, you'll have a second area where you can highlight your product or service in a video as well. And then I think the good point to mention here is that additional conference pass, which we call a $50 value. That is also a big part of our strategy with GISC Virtual, is that we keep the price for attendees incredibly low. It'll be free for anybody to attend the exhibition part of it. It'll be free for anybody to attend the exhibition part of the show. And then for the full conference pass, we're going to charge $50 this year, which is, we're usually in the $250 to $300 range for the physical event. It really helps that we don't have to serve $4 cups of coffee and $8 banana breads. And so so that's a big deal. And the goal of that is we also save on speaker travel and some of the speaker fees, but we really want to make GISC 2020 virtual a chance to audience build. We want way more people to come than have ever come to GISC before, and we think offering education at such an incredible value will really push more people to come try it out. And if we can say double our audience in that time. We're also very hopeful, the board of directors and our staff, that long term we can capture those people to come to the physical event in 2021 when we come back. And so if we can grow the attendance this year, then that'll be a very important step in making sure GISC is still relevant long term, and kind of hoping that a year of absence too when we come back in 2021, people will really crave that physical interaction, and we can really capitalize on that, making it even a more social experience going forward. And I see we have a question here from Dave Carlton about what exactly a booth representative is. So that is an individual that you list as working for your company, and then so they'll be able to be sort of checked in or out based on their availability. We're going to have show hours so that you know when to schedule people, and then you can people will, it'll have your as an example, Dave, it'll have your face beside it in your name. And so if you have a customer that already knows you and wants to talk to you, and not to Carol, who is also a sales rep with your company, they can click on you directly and open that chat and start a conversation. So, and there's some ways to get around that too, is if you have a pretty massive amount of staff, you could do it by title or role. If you're somebody that's a tree specialist versus a shrub specialist, something like that. So hopefully that explains it. And I see I got a gotcha cheers, so that explained it for Dave. So it'll come a little more evident here when we switch to the video chat. So just bear with me for 1 second to get it started, and I'll mute myself through most of it, and so you can focus on the video and not my scruffy nerf herder of a face.
All right, well, let's start talking a little bit about the virtual exhibit hall. The virtual exhibit hall has a lot of features packed into it, and one of the most important things for us, I'm going to click into the exhibit hall here, just from the left-hand side. One of the most important things for us in the virtual exhibit hall is that we want to make sure your exhibitors and sponsors are receiving a tremendous amount of ROI. We're exhibitors ourselves. We go to events, and one of the things that we really look for are leads. We look for business opportunities, and most of the time your exhibitors are probably looking for something quite similar. So for us, our exhibit hall isn't like a 3D virtual universe or anything like that where you walk around and all. It's really designed to help bridge the gap between attendees, exhibitors, and sponsors, help them get information, and help people connect. So what I'm going to do is I'll walk you through some of the core functions inside the exhibit hall, including booth visitor tracking, lead retrieval, all that sort of great stuff. So on the left-hand side, you have a list of all your exhibitors. And from here, you can always search for them if you wanted to. So if I was searching for the Martian Robotics Corporation, my favorite, I would just type in MA if I wanted to. Product filters, you can define all kinds of different products filters that you might want so that you can find exactly the services or products you're looking for. So if I was looking for alien containment equipment, I'd type that. So lots and lots of different options for you to configure things there. And then when you're inside a booth, you have the ability to preview all kinds of information related to that specific exhibitor. Now, again, if you notice on the right-hand side, this chat and presence detection area changed immediately to accommodate this specific exhibitor. So all the public chat area, and generally what you'll see for exhibiting staff that are virtual is that you'll have one staff member answering any public questions that might be coming their way. You can, of course, reorder these exhibitors however you like in the list as well. And basically inside here, you'll have the exhibiting staff members answering public questions, looking for the opportunity to join into private conversations. And then you also can see in real time who visited your booth. Now, we have a much better booth visitor tracking system that I'll show you in just a minute for exhibitors. Inside here, one of the ways exhibitors can capture leads is by attendees clicking on this little mail icon or clicking request information. Now, the reason this is so powerful is unlike a traditional in-person trade show where you only have a couple of hours during the event where people can exchange information and collect leads, what we're seeing is that this is a tool that's being used not just for attendees at your event, but for people who are part of a community for your event. And what that means is that people, even off hours or at all kinds of different points, even separate days, are actually dropping their information for exhibitors, leaving their little footprints that'll show you how all that works for exhibitors. And there's this ongoing return on investment that sponsors and exhibitors get, where they get a lot more information about who is interested in their brands. So if I click into request information, same deal. If I click on the little mail icon, I can leave any optional notes that I might want, along with any files that I might want to attach with that request. And these files are uploaded from the settings area. And the reason these files are so valuable in this experience as well is that we have a lot of career fairs that also run on our platform, where attendees might attach resumes or portfolios or things like that for the exhibitors, which are the employees. Really powerful. So these leads show up in the exhibitor portal that you've seen earlier in the demonstration. So if I go into the Martian Robotics Corporation's private exhibitor portal, I can go into my lead retrieval section where I would see any leads that were submitted to my booth, and I can download, print, all that sort of great stuff. Now we also have the ability coming up where you can protect files. So if you have a CTA that you want to pop up whenever somebody's interested in downloading a file, so give me your contact information essentially, and then you get to download these files, then that's another way to actually collect lead information that's just right around the bend, which we're very excited about. Now, if I'm an exhibitor, not only can I chat inside here publicly, but I can also have private conversations. This is actually going to lead us into the networking part of the demonstration. But I also want to point out that you can have videos, you can have files, full descriptions. These are GIF images, but you can have just static images as well at the top here that you might want. All the different links and outbound sources of information for these exhibitors as well. And then if you wanted to chat privately with any specific exhibitor, you can always click on them, exhibitor staff member rather, and you can type in information and messages for them. So if I say, hi Alan, interested in learning more about aliens, I could do that and start my chat. And what it'll do is now forward me directly to a private conversation with that specific exhibitor, and ignore all these sample messages. It's just from all the tests. You can see 179 messages here. So that's that. Now let's start talking a little bit about some of the more advanced functionalities that exhibitors have in the networking area. They also have access to something called the booth. So if I'm an exhibitor, if I'm logged in as an exhibitor, I have access to my booth, which will give me a full basically overview of anyone from even 2 months ago, as you can see at the bottom here, who visited my booth. And this is very valuable information. This isn't contact information, but this is intent information. People who are interested in your brand, interested in your booth, who actually came by and showed up. And now you have somebody working usually in the background who's tracking real-time people who are coming to your booth and reaching out to them. So I see Leland came to my booth not too long ago. If I click into his little profile here, I can see, additional information about him. I can download files. I have a viewer built right into FeedLoop as well if I wanted to use that. So it's all built inside here. And what I can do is start reaching out to Leland privately, and then I can start a conversation with them. So this booth visitor data is very valuable because it gives you a strong sense of whoever visited your booth, and you can reach out to them anytime you want and try to collect their contact information, but just more importantly, have a conversation with them. So we'll talk a lot more about the different networking and one-on-one features between not only exhibitors and attendees, but between attendees, what happens when you click the Start Chat button in the networking section of this demo coming right up. So if you just watch the exhibitor portion of the demo, you'll notice that we stopped off where we were getting to the private conversation area between an exhibitor, staff member, and an attendee. And the reason is because they're all connected to the same networking system. Now, if you're just watching the networking area, know that you can network with people from anywhere inside the system. The whole idea behind FeedLoop is it's context aware, whether it's somebody in a little chat area here, somebody that you also see in a session that you're interested in, somebody who's also standing beside you at a booth or anything like that. You can always find out who's around you and try to connect with them privately. So let's go over to the networking area where we just left off, and you'll see that we have the same booth tab that we were just looking at, where you can start, or at least see who came to your booth, and then start private conversations with them. So let's see what it would look like if I started a private conversation with Alan. I noticed Alan came by my booth, and I'm interested in chatting with him. So I'd click on Start Chat, and I'd say, hi, Alan, would love to learn more about what you're interested in. I don't know, anything. And this is me as an exhibitor reaching out, but it's the same deal if I'm an attendee reaching out. So as you can see here, I have now started a private conversation, and I can have private chat messages. And this right-hand area that you've gotten used to, this is now changed to a private area, private chat area. And or I can join a video call directly from this system. Same idea if I'm just a normal attendee. I have this list of attendees. I can always search for people. So suppose I'm interested in finding people who are from NASA. I just type in NASA inside here, and all NASA employees will show up inside here. Pretty cool. And if I wanted to see who has, say, the member tag, for example, I would type the member tag in, and I would see nobody from NASA has a member tag, but I will see if I clear that Simon Young, which is me in this case, has a member tag. And these are custom tags that you can create, and it's a great way for your attendees to find other people who are sort of in the same category as them. All right, so now let's say we go back to our chats area. Right now we're chatting privately with Alan. So I can have my text chats all the time, coupled with push notifications and all of that, including notifications when I'm outside the virtual event portal, so I never miss a beat when I want to chat with him. But I can click Join Video Call. Now, Join Video Call is a built-in system inside FeedLoop, no requirements for downloads or integrating Zoom or anything like that. It's all built inside FeedLoop. It's a one-on-one video calling system with screen sharing and all built right in. So if I click Join Video Call, what you'll see is me again. You might have seen me from the sessions part of the demonstration. So here I am again, and what this essentially allows me to do is have a one-on-one video conversation with anyone I want. I'll just make this full screen here so that you can see. Pretty big. And you can have a full screen video conversation with the other person, and you're just waiting for them to join the video conversation right now. So it's a little lonely. I'm the only one here. And Alan is a fictional character in our case, so he's not going to be joining me. But I will use this opportunity to show you some of the additional features here, like the ability to also have private screen sharing sessions as well if I wanted to. So great if I'm an exhibitor, for example, sharing my demo or sharing my website or anything like that. You could do that all within this system as well. Or if I'm just casually chatting between attendees, I can use this system as well. So it's a slick, it's a simple web-based, free integrated FeedLoop Meet system inside this platform that allows two people at your event to have conversations. And something that we are opening up in the future is the ability to have group conversations as well. So look out for that. That's coming later in the summer. So that's the FeedLoop Meet system. Again, video calling built right into the FeedLoop platform, makes it super slick and easy to have those face-to-face conversations with people. So one of the final things I want to talk about in this.
Hey, we're back. So yeah, you just saw that you mentioned that in the demo video there that going to have the group live video chat, and that actually just came out today. So they've been quite the responsive partner and how we work towards things. And so that's just a good example of where that meets. One thing they didn't mention in that video, and I can't sort of show it at the same time here, but it also includes an event app. And the event app is available both on your web browser on a desktop or a laptop, and pops out and looks just like a phone, and you can go through those event apps and push notifications like messages to attendees, etc. Reminders that education session is starting soon. But you can also have it on your phone as well. So it really does. You won't miss messages from attendees, even if you're not sitting, in your booth at that exact time. You'll still get the push notification that you have new messages or new requests for information from your booth. So especially for our exhibitors that are smaller in size and maybe only bring one or two reps. Yeah, and so I just had another question here come in. When they answer your call, do you see them on video? Yes, they'll have the option to have no video or not. I'm sure, but it can be voice only. But in reality, it's meant to be a one-on-one video call. The booth setup, and just another question here from Greg is how easy it is to set up the booth. We found it extremely easy so far. It really is as simple as a what you see is what you get website builder type of tool. So you'll be able to upload your logos, and it gives you spots to where you need to upload your logos, and what's the logo versus what's your header banner versus what's the video, and you put the link in, you type in your descriptions, you upload your files, and then your booth is essentially live. And we will have instructions for exhibitors to help them through that setup. And we're also planning on offering essentially a concierge level service that will allow our staff to connect with you if we're seeing anything missing in your booth or anything not working right. We'll help you through that process to make sure your virtual booth is the best it can be. I think I got more questions coming in. Is the booth setup similar to Cultivate 20 virtual? It's very similar. It just doesn't, Cultivate 20, the system they use, had that system that it had an image of a booth, whereas what we just saw was you have a profile that's a little more of a page inside the booth, but it does offer that live chat and some of those really good integrations that I think are that's set up the same way. And and just my personal opinion, because I attended a lot of Cultivate, is I think the cleaner layout actually makes it easier for attendees to navigate the system, which is really what it's about, right? Exhibitors will have more experience because they'll be interacting with lots of people, but an attendee might only interact with a much smaller number of people over the whole session. So you want it to be very intuitive, easy to navigate for them. And then I have another question here: is how soon before the conference will have access? I'm not sure exactly what that means. So maybe Alana, you can clarify. Do you mean, when does the conference go live, or how soon after the conference will they have the archived access? And while I wait for any clarification on that, we talked about how soon before the conference will we have access? Almost any time now, you'll have access to start setting up your booth, and then we'll move towards going live and doing a dress rehearsal a couple days before the event, and then when the event goes live on November 18th, the Wednesday, that'll be the full thing. But we want to work with everybody to make sure everything is up and working as intended, and everybody has some test time. So we'll probably, I imagine in my head is that we'll probably do a couple of dress rehearsals that work for different time zones, different setup, and then so you'll be able to have your booth set up, and our staff can come in as attendees and make sure that system's working right for you. Yeah, visitors to the exhibition portion of the show that just want to come and check out new products and services and chat with their vendors and friends will have free access. We won't be charging anything for that. Yeah, videos is, whether you upload it to Vimeo or YouTube, you'll be able to put that video up. And then for the downloads, I don't think there's any restrictions. It'll just be about what works within that. So, Word documents, PDFs, PowerPoints, all those things can be uploaded as files. These are great questions. Thanks for keeping it up. And obviously, Valerie just pointed, to start setting up your booth, you'll have to register as an exhibitor, and then we'll start rolling out those instructions. And we're going to do some instructional videos to walk you through all the steps to set up your booth. We're actually, the plan at this point is we're going to create the Landscape Alberta booth live in a video and narrate it and go through all the steps. So you'll actually have an exact inside the Green Industry Show and conference site inside that exhibitor portal, and you'll be able to follow along and watch as we set up our own booth, and see all the different steps. And then if you can pull out a separate window or on your second monitor, and then literally have a step-by-step guide to follow you through. We intend to make this as easy as possible. It'll probably be more helpful than in a physical booth, because we can't. I don't drive a forklift, so I can't actually help you set up your booth physically, but I can sure help virtually, and the rest of the team too. So, and then for sponsorship sessions, just to give you a general idea, is that we're going to have those education sessions. That includes, depending on the level, and we'll send all this stuff out as it all gets solidified. But you'll be able to put your you'll have links in the session that will direct people directly to your booth. You'll have sort of pre-roll video. So in that couple minutes before the video goes live, you'll have a commercial for your company, which could, and as we said, because it's going to be archived and people are going to be coming back for that, it has a long hunt. The scavenger hunt idea, so that we're limiting that to 20 different exhibitors, and that ability to come get a code from your booth that enters into their scavenger hunt. It gets them points, and then they will be able to use the points to enter ballots into draws, and it replaces the passport program. As you can be the registration sponsor. So everybody that registers to go to the event, free or paid, will have your banner in front of them, and of course social media and targeted direct emails that all go around that. Obviously, with being a virtual event, our promotional budget is very much been redirected to the social media and electronic means. Although we still plan on doing some direct mail piece, so that we can capture the biggest audience. Interestingly, if we look across the country, is several other shows have just decided not to run this year. So we're hoping we can really capitalize that, and we might even see people from the East Coast or from BC in greater numbers this year, as we offer such excellent content. And that's one of our big things too, is that with our speakers, we've really focused on that they have to drive sort of engaging content. So live polls, that they will be available for question and answer during and after their sessions, so that we really do drive it's not like sitting in the room. It's hard. It's more difficult. But often when those rooms, we have to switch the room. The next speaker's coming on in 10 minutes. So you're kind of rushed out anyways. Well, this will give more opportunity for that interaction with our speakers, and hopefully just really engage that audience. But it's Alberta, so or the prairies is who we really serve, and it could be snowing and people are out snow plowing, or it could still be nice and everybody's still working. But the one thing we won't have is a snowstorm that stops people from traveling. If we're virtual, that's going to be a real thing. And because we're spacing out those education session start times, it really does allow people to, take that phone call in between a session they're watching, go do some emails, communicate with staff, and then go back to a session. And if there's people that are still working from home or working remotely, it just allows that. We understand that people aren't going to sit in a room for 8 hours straight. They would on maybe at a physical location. You've got to give more built-in breaks so people can really deal with the distractions around them. So I'm luckily at the office today instead of at home with my 5-year-old and 3-year-old, which would be much more distracting than here. Yeah, so here we go to question and answers, and Valerie's is your main exhibitor contact, and she's the one who invited you to these sessions. So if you have specific questions, and I know everyone's a little different, so we're happy to talk to you about that. We're happy to even set up one-on-one times to really go into the feed loop system and show you exactly what that stuff looks like. We're still setting up the back end of the system, but I'm hoping in the next short while we'll have that ready for exhibitors to start populating, and we can really start moving along. So I'll leave it open here for any. I think I've dealt with all the questions. I'm hoping Val or Lisa will tell me if I haven't. I just had a question here come in about the auction, the nursery growers auction. We're unsure of where that stands right now. We're talking to the Landscape Alberta Nursery Grower Producers Group. They were already switching to an app-based auction system for 2020. So it might work out well that still gets integrated into the system, but we have to see how all these things work. Obviously, that auction night on Wednesday night every year of GISC is a massive social event for our session, and it raises much needed funds for scholarships and research. So we'd like to do something, obviously, but it's a very different world to do something like that. So we'll work out some details and announce that soon, I hope. The nice part, some good news for some of the exhibitors on the call too is, some of that research money, that money that gets raised at the auction goes towards research. And we just got recently approved by the CAP program, the Canadian Agricultural Partnerships Program, for a tree trial here in the prairies, looking at new trees for municipalities, new varieties, and so that obviously there's funding from the government, but a lot of in-kind and cash donations from the industry. So those are the kind of good works that keep happening. The beard is not going to be an exhibit to itself at GISC. I promise to abandon my castaway Tom Hanks look before we go really live with the event. It started as a dare amongst friends to not shave or get a haircut through the COVID isolation, and I've just kept it going. We for sure, Castillo, we can create a sample booth and show that to you and get that out to people as well, so people can have a look and see where we're at. Well, if there's no other questions, we are happy to take any of your feedback. We really hope you come on board with us with this virtual thing. It's going to be an interesting trip, and as much as we will miss doing our physical event, it's something we work on all year long, and we. For a lot of us, it's our favorite time of year here as staff. So we will miss it just as much as you might. But I think the virtual thing, it's not worse or better. It's different, and so we will still be. We're just hoping to take advantage of the things that virtual does well. We're gonna really push hard on those differences, and then when we come back to physical, that we get to focus on those things that the physical does well, because we don't have a lot of choice here sometimes, right? So we get to do that. There was a question that came in about sponsorships still being available. Yes, 100%. We've really just started to talk to people about selling those. Maybe this is a good close up. We are recording this. It'll be available later. But if you had booked for any of the sponsorships ahead of time, say lanyards or the bags that we give out at the physical event, those are needed for the virtual event. So we're sort of resetting the sponsorship thing. We like to talk to our returning sponsors first, but we're accepting all things. And then if it's just not for you and you choose not to exhibit, there are some details about the refunds we're going to. We will offer a free refund, but we'd love to see you there, hopefully at a much better price, and then bring you back next year and maintain your booth position, etc. Somebody asked if there's a timeline on decisions. There really isn't. It's we're going to run with this, whether we get 30 exhibitors or 100 exhibitors. But we're going, because the education is really the big draw, right? We want to still connect with thousands of people for educational sessions. So we're going to go with that. The caveat would be, obviously, as you get closer to September, you want to give enough time to set up your booth and make sure it's a good experience. And as you can see, people that have been to Cultivate or Snowposium that's going on today in Ontario, is there's people that have put a lot of really good effort into their booth and does that. But one thing that also encourages is, if you're, especially in our industry, is, this is the time you still have stuff growing, you still have stuff out there happening. You have the ability to show tools on job sites. So if you're missing some video that you think would be an awesome feature in your booth, you still have got August and September and October to really take some, everybody's phone now shoots in high definition. You could take some 30-second clips of videos, string those together into something that would really show your customers. And it doesn't happen at physical GISC. Is you will you can invite your customers out into your field and walk them around and show them your great growing techniques and pruning methods, etc. But you can certainly do that in a video and then have it on your website and really allow people to see what you're doing. So it's again, that's why I say we really want to push down on what virtual does well. We're going to give you the tools to make that happen really well. So, okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Hope to see you there. And again, we're always here to talk to you about what works for you, and we're going to help everybody as much as we can through the process because it's new to everybody. So we'll work together on this. Thanks. Take care. Bye.